what are various determinants of interest rate. So in that we talked about where we talked about few more factors, and then they were talking about default risk because the default risk is basically one of the factors that push interest rates up and down based on what kind of risk is prevailing in the market. So we will take start our today's session from our discussion on default risk that we had in last week. And for better audio modulation and internet, what I do, I'll keep a video off so that you all will be able to connect with me properly. And if you have any question, you can interrupt me between. I'll take first your question and then we will move forward. So in last week, if you remember, we talked about default risk, and what we said basically default risk or default risk premium, additional interest or premium that investor should get when he or she is investing in risky assets. So let's say this is a stock, INJ. I is the your some kind of investment which is non-government. So that's why this is J is some kind of instrument you can talk about. For example, you can consider a stock of a company, and T is similar maturity. Let's say you are assuming that you are going to hold particular maturity for a year, and so default investing in risky assets, which is in this case we are saying this is a stock versus investing in, let's say, 1 year. Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
This is breaking a lot.
So, why is it creating?
You're not clear to all of us.
Okay. Let me check my settings. Hello. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Is it
Yes,
fine
sir.
now?
Yes, sir. It is better.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, fine.
Yes.
So can you all see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we were talking about default risk. Basically, default risk is a risk that investor or we perceive in the market when we invest in a risky security, because generally default risk probability is high with the with issuer who are non-government. For example, a company may you buy a stock of a company. Let's say if we assume that IJ is the interest rate, or let's say return that you expect from 1 year sorry, investment in security. So default risk between that same maturity risky asset versus non-risky asset would be difference between same maturity risky asset or issuer who is having some kind of risk of default versus government security of similar maturity. So gap between interest rate gap between these two, we call it default risk premium. And why it is important? Because when let's say a company is issuing, because there are various classification. So let's first take classification and then I'll come back to that graph. So this is S&P S&P Moody's rating style or rating pattern. So here you can see Moody's generally A, double A, or Standard and Poor, they call it AAA. So basically, when a company having this kind of rating, it means company is very much
probability of default is very less. Means investment is of high quality and companies having good reputation. So if you look at 2016, these companies J&J, Johnson and Johnson and Microsoft got this kind of rating. And if we go with our normal understanding, so if we are investing in good quality companies, so chances are very high that there will be less default risk. So here probability of default by these company will be lesser. If probability of default is lesser, it means the if company is issuing bond, you can expect less coupon or interest from these companies. So coupon rate, let's say, which is representing interest rate. So coupon rate issued by these companies, AA, AAA rated companies, will be close to what government or treasury investment or treasury bonds are going to offer you. Because default is less, it means that difference between the coupon rate or interest rate from risky asset or risky company issuers asset versus government or treasury investment, that difference will be less. Means default risk premium will be less. Whereas when we talk about when we go below here, this kind of companies. So here when we are coming from top to bottom, the risk is higher. For example, here if you see B, when S&P or Moody classify companies investment or company as B rated company, means these are speculative. Means these companies having may have lots of variation in terms of their earnings, in terms of their investment, or in terms of project that companies are going to consider. And here you can see mostly these companies if you take a 2016 time period, this is basically from these are the US companies. So Netflix and JC Penney, these companies were rated in 2016 as B rated firms. And when these firms are, because these speculation is very high, it means if company wants to raise, let's say, capital by issuing debt, company will have to pay more. It means for those type of companies, so when we talk about this DRP for AAA rated companies would be less than your default risk premium for B. Reason is very clear, because this is not going to change. Let's say when one year time period, if you are taking, so this is the constant, let's say it's government security or government bond of, or 1 year maturity. So this is going to be constant, but as companies getting more and more risky based on these ratings, the company will have to pay more to their shareholder or to their investor. And that's why the default risk premium will increase as companies rating goes down. And this is why this is default risk is one of the risks which directly impacts the interest rate. Now going forward, so here you can easily see already. I think we have discussed in last class about even one of you asked question why in US certain state government had interest rate different from US central bank or less than US central bank. And then what we have argued that in US, because structure is of various states, and that's why it's United States of America we call, and every state having their own boundaries, own way of governing. So their governance is different, and that's why certain states are very rich, resourceful, and that's why when we talk about yield on those states, when they are issuing bond, they, because of they have good resource, they have good, rating you can call, but better than overall US, government, and that's why they can offer less coupon. We will talk about, coupon when we are going to talk about, valuation of bond. So they can offer less interest or coupon because of high rating. And that is the main reason why in certain time period here, if you see in this case, generally this state government offer more coupon with respect to this US, this blue one, US government, whereas in this region you see state bonds or local government municipal bonds are offering less coupon because they are more because these are more stable and the probability of default or rating is higher than overall US government. And that is the reason why we have this kind of scenario in India. When we go and look at various companies versus various state government and versus central government, we may have different story. So that's why it's not always that this is how it will be across world, but it depends upon local state level or government level characteristics. And now, how default risk premium will impact the prices? Because we talked about that there is a relationship between bond price versus coupon or interest rate. Reverse relationship. It means if interest rate is going up, it means it will reduce the intrinsic price or price of bond because of this relationship. So now we will try to understand how risk premium or default risk premium basically impact the price of particular bond. So here in A, we can see this is corporate bond market, and here we are talking in terms of corporate bond because anyway government security will have slightly different characteristics. So let's say here if there is an increase in default risk, and default risk could be because of n number of reasons. Company may have invested in risky investment, or for example, if company having more investment in countries like Afghanistan, where there are lots of political risk, it means companies lots of assets, lots of investment is going to be blocked, and there is no situation, no clear direction how company is going to recover those investment back. So those type of company may have more risk of default. Why default? Because if companies are not able to generate good profit from investment in, let's say, countries like Afghanistan, they won't be able to honor their investor in terms of paying dividend, in terms of paying the debt obligation, basically coupon and other payment. So you can think about in those kind of context that if that scenario is there, then there may be increase in the default risk for that company. If risk is increasing, and this was the price earlier, definitely because of increase in risk, people won't demand for this kind of asset. So what will happen? There will be a decline in demand. Here you can see earlier this was the because this is supply curve and demand curve we have seen in previous slide. And if there is a decline, then this will be because of default increase in the default risk. This kind of trend we will see. So basically this is going to be based on demand and assuming that there is a no change in the supply. So supply is as it is, then there will be this equilibrium price for corporate bond or bond in corporate bond market. Now we come back to here. Second scenario we consider, a second step, the shift in the demand of curve for a treasury bond to right. Because what will happen if corporate bonds are risky. People won't buy, or if people are not buying, if it means prices will go down. At the same time, the investor may switch from here to here because now this is risky. You can, whatever example we have taken now, this investment is risky. So rather than investing in corporate, bond or in corporate bond market, investor may switch to government treasury market. So what will happen if demand goes up? Here you see, for example, let's say supply, again we are assuming constant. If demand is going up, then this will be the price level, because if demand is more high, people will buy more. It means definitely because of high demand pressure, but constant supply, there will be upward movement in demand. And because of increase in demand, this demand curve will shift from initial level here to somewhere here, and this is going to be the price level. So in this case, we know that this kind of relationship, price and relationship. So if at this level the interest or coupon in corporate bond is IC2, and here for government bond, if on treasury the new interest rate is this, or coupon you can talk about IT2, then the risk premium between this and this, because of change in the risk, default risk, this will be your risk premium. So here what we can see that how default risk is creating pressure on corporate bond, and how that pressure is going to be adjusted here when investors are going to switch, and ultimately it will push the default risk premium upward. Means the gap between treasury bond and your corporate bond will change, or will widen based on the how investors are going to change their portfolio. So this part is clear. So this is very very basic implication of default risk on corporate bond, and how that result has changed in the interest rate. So this already we have talked about bond rating, so I won't spend more time on this. And this is one very simple example just to explain how we can calculate default risk premium. So on a given time period, 10-year treasury bond yield was 3.31, and on AA, AAA and BB rated corporate debt, offering interest rate of 4.98 and 6.23. And here you see, when we are saying AAA versus when we are saying, so basically this is high rated firm. So it means this definitely this firm will be giving less interest. And because this is relatively higher risky firm, so this will have to offer high. So basically this kind of interest rate or coupon pattern we will observe. Risk is more. It means this company will have to compensate investor for additional risk. So if this is the case, we want to calculate the default risk premium for both the firms. So this is basically your coupon of respective firm from your respective firm. So this is coupon rate or interest rate for corporate, and this is your treasury. If you remember, our formula. So based on that, we can calculate default risk premium. And as we know, if company is more risky or probability of default is high, then default risk premium will be higher for those companies, because investor must be compensated for taking or for investing in a relatively risky company. And that's why default risk premium is one of the way to measure the riskiness of your investment in a corporate bond or corporate security versus government security. And we have seen how it will impact on interest rate. That previous diagram will help you to understand that relationship. And this is how risk premium you can if you go and do just similar analysis for Indian companies, you will definitely find this kind of relationship, a default risk premium. And this is well established literature is there, well established reasons we have just seen why it will impact the interest rate and how it will overall impact in the on entire market. Other risk that we see is liquidity risk. Can anybody define what would be a liquidity risk? Yeah.
The risk that you don't have cash or like liquid asset.
Okay, let's say when we talk about market where we are buying and selling asset, how you will get your definition is correct, especially it is somewhere related to cash or cash equivalent. But now when we are talking about, let's say, bond market or security market, how you will define liquidity risk? Yeah, go ahead. Any other student? So basically, liquidity risk is risk that we see when you don't find anyone opposite to you, because when you are holding a particular asset and you are not able to sell it, it means there is no buyer is available. And that is, and you assume a case where there are so many sellers and there is no buyer. So what will happen? You one option that will left, either you wait. If you are waiting, then there will be transaction cost, because you if let's say you need money tomorrow, and you had whatever investment you purchased, you thought that whenever you need, you can convert your all the investment into cash, and cash you can use it in the way you want. But if no buyer is available, then either you will have to wait long. If you are waiting, probably for your cash requirement, you may go approach to bank, take loan. Loan is going to cost you, whether you take a loan for 1 month or 1 year, there will be certain interest rate. So it means there will be transaction cost or some kind of opportunity cost. At the same time, another kind of risk that we see is transaction cost. Let's say a day at time is equal to 0, the value of your asset, or let's say one value of your holding was 1,000 million. And what happens in next day when you thought now this is the right time, I should reduce my portfolio and get some cash for certain investment, other investment. And when you want to go and buy, there is no buyer, and and you are forced to sell, let's say, your entire portfolio at 80 million. So basically, this gap between these two, a kind of 20 million, is the transaction cost, because transaction cost having various definition. Transaction cost related to your brokerage charge. Transaction cost is related to price impact. When you keep selling lots of asset, or when you keep buying lots of asset, then there will be a gradual change in the price. So that change in the price, basically we call it price impact. So all these type of price we call cost, we call it transaction cost. So anyway, so this is one of the risk, liquidity risk we call. And it means if asset is less liquid because of any reason, premium should be given, right? And that premium is going to impact the interest rate. When we are going to talk about theory, remember, liquidity risk premium is one of the theory we will be talking about. And another consideration is term to maturity. So what we are saying, term to maturity is basically interest rate which is related to term, or interest rate related with the term to maturity. So what basically we are talking about, let's say you have two securities, security A, where security is A is going to be issued for 5 years, and security B is going to be issued for 10 years. And let's say security A. So what will happen, because here the maturity period of security A, or you can think about company is going to issue debenture or bond of 5 year and 10 year. Then what kind of coupon rate or interest company should pay? So remember what term to maturity state that as this period is increasing, the interest rate or yield on such instrument should increase. Why? Because if let's say both both companies having other parameters similar, this company is offering 5% annual coupon rate or interest on to their shareholder, and another bond or 10-year also offers same. So what will happen if this kind of scenario is there? Whether both bond will get same kind of attention from the market or different? Yeah.
So people will prefer to buy bond A.
Why you said so?
So because my capital is tied for shorter period of time while I get the same interest rate.
Exactly. So actually what I want to say that the term to maturity is another important factor. So unless nobody will go for buying this bond B, assuming that both companies rating is same, let's say both are AAA rated firm, the only in B bond will only get good buyer if certain delta is added here to compensate the gap between these two. The gap between these two is 5 years. And that's why term to maturity is another concept that is going to impact the interest rate, prevailing interest rate in the market. And here you can see so change in the required interest rate as maturity of security change is called maturity premium. It means if I want to calculate maturity premium between A and B. So what would be my maturity premium? How much you are getting for this 5-year bond, sorry 10-year. So this is 5 plus delta minus 5%. So basically this delta is nothing but your maturity premium that bond 2 is going to offer you to ensure that investor will be happy and they will buy. And again, remember, this is in ideal scenario we are talking about. Now you think about scenario, country like, Afghanistan, where situation is quite different. People may have, believe that right now, things are not good, but probably if I invest for 20-year bond or so, I may have a better prospect or other way around. So this is not always true that long maturity will have, long maturity instrument will have a positive maturity premium. Please don't keep that assumption in your mind, because it is very much dependent on what could be the future prospect of that economy. And that's why it could be positive, it could be negative, but in ideal sense, assuming that entire market scenario would be more or less same, there won't be any drastic change in the political dimension. So with that assumption, this is what we can call as term to maturity, and how we can calculate is maturity premium. So already we have seen this type of shift in the bond demand curve. So just we will go through when we talk about wealth. if your wealth is increasing, demand will increase. If demand will increase, so this kind of demand curve, demand will increase, and then curve will move to right hand side. When we talk about expected interest rate, if interest rate goes up, remember there is a inverse relationship. Then if that is the case, then you will have opposite demand, opposite direction. So movement will be in this way. You will have decline, and the price of bond will decline. Assuming that you have same kind of supply curve. Expected inflation, again, inflation and interest rate are positively related. So more or less same kind of relationship you can expect. Now coming back to another factors, riskiness of bond. We have seen how it impacts. If riskiness is increasing, you will find this type of shift in the demand curve. Right, it will decline basically. And in terms of liquidity, if it is increasing, then there will be this type of shift in demand curve. Already we have talked about, so I think we won't spend much time. And now think about supply curve. Exactly, we can already connect. So probability of investment, assuming that this is one of the factor that impact the supply. So if probability of profitability of investment is increasing, so there will be more supply, remember. And so this kind of movement you can observe in the supply curve. Inflation, increase in inflation, of course, it will have a positive impact on the supply. It will, there will be right direction movement, right side movement. And government deficit. When we are talking about government deficit, what we are saying that government revenue deficit, basically revenue minus their expenses. So if that is increasing, that will increase, because this will have direct impact on inflation, and the way inflation will move the supply curve, same way you will have movement when there is a deficit, government budgetary deficit. And here, whatever we discussed so far, you can easily relate how it will impact. So here what we are looking at treasury bond, or you can think about government security. So wherever you will find risk because of various factors, this interest rate will go down, because the economy does not show a positive direction, and that's why in those times you will find a downward interest rate or decline in interest rate, because sometimes rather than going with the natural variation in the interest rate, central bank also intervene various times. Like in India right now, if you go, there is a provision, in April GSEP, I believe last week we talked about government security acquisition program. Means government security RBI is going to purchase, but that is an external factor. But when we assume that there is no external factor, in all these scenarios, you will find this kind of downward slope in whenever you have recession, and that shows that interest rate is very much sensitive whenever we observe recession. And how recession will impact, we have seen in our previous discussion when we talk about supply and demand curves. Now, so whatever we have covered about the interest rate, but interest rate will be coming from from somewhere. So from where that interest rate is coming, that interest rate is basically also coming from the term structure. What is term structure? Basically, this is a plot. Here you can see this is a plot on yield on different bond with different maturity, but same risk and liquidity. And tax consideration is called yield curve. So let's say, so what basically we are talking about, if we have, let's say, if we plot, here you have yield and here you have maturity. Time to maturity, sometimes we call it maturity, or time to maturity, how much time is left to, for our instrument to complete its maturity period. So we can also write, maturity or time to maturity. So what we are saying, yield curve is basically a relationship between yield and time to maturity. So what is this? What we are talking about, basically, let's say, in a given economy, there could be, various type of instrument. Let's say 1 year treasury bond, 2 year, assuming that these are available, because chances are very likely that these may not be available. 10 years. So basically here, what we have is yield to maturity. So in years. So let's say for 1 year bond, this is 3%, this is 6%, this is 9%, this is 12%. So assuming that for 1 year bond, this is, this is, 3%. For 2 year, it is 3.5. For 6 year, it is, 3 year, it is around 5%, 6%. For 10%, let's say I'm assuming it is somewhere 6.24, which is there in India. So if we, draw this curve, so basically what this curve is saying, this is the yield curve on, let's say, if we are drawing it on today. So let's say we are drawing today is September 1st, 2021, assuming that if this is the scenario, or this is the current status. So this curve represents the yield curve upward slope. But it could be, as I told you, it could be any type. It could be kink, it could be upward, downward. It totally depends upon how people are perceiving, future. So here you can see this is, upward slope. Normal scenario, like, in previous discussion, when we talk about, sorry, factor that influence the interest rate, we said, term to maturity is one of the factor. As bonds are issued for longer duration bond should give high return, otherwise investor won't invest. So if we go ahead with that kind of assumption, so this is how, your yield curve will look like. Now yield curve could be like this. So in this, so this is the case where what we are getting, where short-term interest rate is less than long term. So this is normal, like, 5 year versus 10 year. Is there any question?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, actually, I'm finding it a little hard to understand why bonds with same risk, liquidity, and tax considerations should differ in terms of investor confidence. Like, even if the risk is same for both the bonds, just the maturity period is different. How
Okay,
come?
let me write your assumption so that everyone will be able to what you are saying. Let's say 2 bonds are there, right? I'm assuming A and B, and you are assuming that liquidity is same, right? Liquidity risk.
Yes.
Then what you said, second point you talk about
Risk, liquidity, and tax consideration.
Okay, we are assuming that all taxes that you will have tax implication from these two will be same. Okay, so this is what he is assuming, that for these two, bond A and bond B, all are same. Yeah. And what about maturity?
Maturity is different.
Okay, so maturity I'm writing, this is 5 year, let's say, and this is 10 year. Is it fine?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah. Now go ahead.
So from because in the definition of the term structure, it's given that we are only comparing bonds whose these three factors are same. Only the yield to maturity is what is changing. So
Yes, yes.
if we see this first plot for 5 year and 10 year, the yield to maturity is different. So I want to understand how
Okay,
this.
okay. Let me. So let's say 5 year is around 2%, right? This is this graph you are talking about.
Yes, sir.
So if I'm not correct, you know. So what he is saying that in this plot, 5 year is giving you 2% interest rate or yield, or 10% is offering 3% yield, right? So basically, all these are government security. So that you know your this assumption will satisfy. So let's say these are government issued security. So that's why your liquidity risk, tax related assumption, and risk related to other factor like default risk you may be referring to, all are zero, right? Or all are the same. So the reason why, because if you buy this, let's say if you buy 5 year bond and you pay, let's say 10,000 US dollar to buy, as I'm assuming that, let's say face value, we will talk about this later, face value is 1,000 and you purchase 10 bond. So 10,000, sorry, 1,000 per each bond value, face value, or and then 10 you have purchased, so 10,000 is your investment. So why it should be more? Because your 10,000 is, let's say if 10 year and 5 year yield is same, let's say yield is 2% for both. Do you think investor would prefer to invest if both instrument of different maturities are offering same yield? Do you think it will be possible?
Then a rational investor would always prefer 5 year instead of 10.
Yes, and that's why if we assume that market is rational and there are no external factor, that's why I'm saying I'm only referring to this. That's why I'm saying no external factor like situation in Afghanistan or in countries where Cyprus or those countries where there was debt crisis. So if things are normal, rationally, if we think about, then high maturity instruments having same kind of characteristics should offer high return or high yield as compared to low, because your money is, or investors money is going to be tied up with 10 year for or additional 5 year with respect to 5 year instrument. And that's why investor would prefer a kind of premium for investing in 10 year government bond rather than investing in 5 year. And there are also theory. You just hold on. That's why theory I have not talked about. When we are going to discuss about theory, you will get precise answer for your question.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Yeah. So logically, you think if I ask you, you give me 10,000 today, and after 1 month I'll give you, let's say 11,000. If another person comes to, he says that you give me 10,000 today, I'll give you 11,000 after a year. To whom you would prefer to give 10,000 rupee? Definitely you would give to first one. Why? Because in a month you are going to get additional 1,000. Whereas the person who is offering you 1,000 after a year, you won't give because your money is going to be blocked, but your payoff is similar.
Yes.
Yeah, and that is the reason why this kind of relationship we generally observe. And now this kind of relationship could also exist. What is happening, rather than you think about, I'll give you a minute here, you think about in this, what we are observing, that short-term interest rate is higher than long-term. So what I am saying here, if you see, this is 3-month treasury bill. 3-month treasury bill is offering around 6.2% or 6.5%, whereas your 5-year is offering how much? Around 5.7%. So basically, what is happening? 5-year offering you 5.7%, whereas 3-month treasury bill, is offering you around 6.3% or so, 3 month. So that's why you have downward slope. But again, because of certain reason, it is going up. Reason you will be able to understand well once we cover the concept related to various 3 theories are there related to term structure. Then you will be able to understand. And here also you have this kind of relationship. So one assignment I am giving to you based on this slide, and you all will be submitting by tomorrow, before tomorrow's class. So basically by tonight you have to submit. So what you have to do, you have to analyze at least 2 countries, 2 different countries term structure. Basically, what you have to do, you have to get this kind of graph for 2 different companies, and then this is first thing. And then second, you have to relate. You have to relate with proper reason for such a trend. So 2 things you have to do. First, 2 country you pick and you observe yield curve for these 2 companies as of today. Like here you can see, as example we have seen today. So you can have you look at the yield curve and try to relate what is going on in that economy, whether it is because of economy, whether it is because of some other reason. You have to give justification, right? So based on our discussion on this slide, I'm expecting by today end of the day, you all are going to submit. I just need maximum 2 page maximum. You put graph and it should be properly explained why you have this kind of yield curve. Even if you do, if let's say if you are not able to use your this system, or if you're not having system, you can write on piece of paper and pen and you can submit to me. So I'll create one assignment on yield curve or term structure, and you have to submit by tonight. Is it fine? Already we have talked about, so you can relate, and I'll be uploading these slides. Anyway, video is available because there are many other things. So unless I covered, I don't think I should share all these slides. But what I'm expecting based on this slide, you are going to pick any 2 different countries. Don't use India in your sample. Any 2 different countries. Look at their term structure as on today, and then try to connect with justification why you are observing this kind of pattern. And if you can relate with the future investment or prospect of the company, I think that would be far better, right? So if you have any question related to this assignment, so this will be your assignment number 1. Immediately I'll post on your MS Team, and submission will be by tonight. Fine. Is there any question?
Sir, if possible, could you keep the submission deadline like late night 2 o'clock or 2:30?
Fine. So what I'll do in submission, I'll keep it, let's say, to 3 AM tomorrow. Is it fine?
Yes.
And please do not, I would suggest you read. You can read from any source, but don't copy and paste it, because it really when I evaluate and it is just copy and paste assignment, it really demotivates me. So whatever you understand and then you explain, use your own word, don't copy and paste. That will help you to better understand all these concepts, and that's what my expectation is. That's why I'm not saying it should be 10-page assignment. It should be 2-page assignment, but it should be from your own understanding rather than what things are given on various web sources. Fine. So we will stop our discussion on this slide immediately. I'll post this assignment. I'll post this assignment by 1:30 because after this I have another session, and I expect by 3 a.m. Tomorrow you all are going to submit this assignment. Make it genuine. Don't copy and paste. That would be better. Fine. So any question do you have related to what we have covered today?
Sir?
Yeah.
Sir, for every plot of term structure, we fix a particular risk, liquidity, and tax consideration, and then
No. Let's say when you are taking one company, one country, for example, in that country, if all these instrument will be government issued instrument, whenever we talk about yield curve, if that is the case, already tax implications are the same.
right, understood, sir. Okay.
Yeah, so it means you need not to think about those factors. Just you try to get the yield curve for 2 different countries. Do not consider India in your sample, and think about why you have upward slope, downward slope, or if let's say you are considering let's say these maturity. Let's say you are considering 1 month treasury bill, 3 month, 1 year, then 5 year, 10 year, and 20 year. Let's say these 6 different maturity instrument, if you are considering, why you have this kind of, let's say you are getting 1% for 1 month, why that is the case. It means you need to look at the inflation part. I should not tell, but you need to look at what is going on in terms of inflation, right? And then you will be able to justify whether that yield for that short-term instrument is proper or not. Because unless you try to explain through factor that we have discussed related to interest rate, you won't be able to well understand this concept. And that is what I expect that you should know about yield curve and relationship with the interest rate. Fine. Any other question related to this assignment? Fine. So I'm closing today's session, and we will meet tomorrow. And I expect everyone is going to submit their assignment. I'll also post on MS Team by 1:30 or so that those who are not able to join today's session, they will be also informed. Fine. So if you have any question, I'll take it. Otherwise, we will close this session. Yeah, I think someone has messaged. Yeah, Ritik, you have shared some group.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's the group for this.
So you have also sent to me as well.
Yes, sir. You can also join.
Okay. I'll join it. Fine. So I'm closing this meeting because 12 onwards I have another session, and I believe you all are going to work towards this assignment. Give your honest effort while doing this assignment. You read it, of course, but don't copy and paste. So I'm closing this session. We will meet tomorrow at 12 noon. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.